This is a hospital. University of Uyo Teaching Hospital.
This morning, we bring you a special report on 5 days that brought a hospital to its knees, a state to a standstill, and patients to their graves. What happened at the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital wasn't just a clash between federal agencies. It was a catastrophic breakdown where fighting corruption collided with saving lives, and ordinary Nigerians paid the ultimate price. The morning of Tuesday, May 12th, EFCC operatives walked into the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital to verify a medical report. By afternoon, tear gas had been deployed inside a hospital. Within days, doctors across Akwa Ibom State had staged a walkout. And by the time the crisis ended, patients who needed surgery, dialysis, emergency care were already dead. This report will examine how it happened, how a routine document verification escalated into tear gas, a statewide medical strike, and a 5-day crisis that exposed dangerous cracks in how Nigeria's institutions communicate. The central question: how did verifying a document cost lives? To understand what happened at the teaching hospital, you need to hear both sides of the story, because what the hospital says happened and what the EFCC says happened are two completely different narratives, and somewhere between those two versions, a crisis was born.
The EFCC personnel came into my office and they introduced himself. He went out of my office barely 2 minutes after. He came in again, but this time around with another personnel holding gun. And he told me that I was under arrest. I asked him why. I was not the one that issued the medical report. My name is not on the medical report. The report was not issued from my unit. And I'm not a criminal, I'm not a suspect, and the organization did not address the letter to me, so why am I under arrest? He said, when you get to office, you will say all that. They started pushing me, they dragged me out of the office, and when they dragged me out of the office to the walkway, I started crying. I could not tell the hospital, my colleagues in the hospital that came, that these are EFCC personnel, because they had said I should not talk. They were holding gun. I saw many masked and armed men came violently, broke the protector, threatened the people that were around, and people ran away, and they beat some staff that were still by me, and they dragged me and the other staff, 5 of us, into their van.
Professor Ekpe says what happened next felt like an invasion. He contacted the medical director, Professor Bassi, who became alarmed by what he was hearing and immediately called the police, reporting that unidentified armed men had entered the hospital. But the EFCC tells a completely different story. According to their official statement, this was a routine visit, not a raid. Their operatives introduced themselves, needed a medical report for court the next day, and had sent 2 letters without a response. When Professor Ekpe said the document wasn't ready, they asked him to come to their office. That was when the chief medical director, Professor Bassi, was contacted. Well, according to the EFCC, Professor Bassi ordered staff to lock the gates, trapping their operatives inside, then called police claiming unidentified gunmen had invaded. The EFCC says the Commissioner of Police in Uyo confirmed EFCC's presence and advised the CMD to open the gates. He refused, and according to the EFCC, what turned a routine visit into chaos was being locked in and attacked by hostile hospital staff, forcing them to call reinforcements. But here is what's not in dispute. Tear gas was deployed inside a hospital where vulnerable patients, asthmatics, ICU patients, people on ventilators were struggling to survive. Under the Geneva Convention, civilian hospitals are strictly protected. Even during armed conflicts, they cannot be attacked, destroyed, or have their operations disrupted. This immunity is only lost if a hospital is actively used to commit harmful acts, and only after clear warning. This wasn't a war zone. This was a teaching hospital in Uyo, and tear gas was used inside. While the EFCC and hospital debated who was right, patients were caught in the crossfire. Within hours, the Nigerian Medical Association called an indefinite strike across Akwa Ibom State. Doctors walked out.
When other people came in, they tried to video how they were molesting him. They cocked their guns and promised to shoot them if they don't. They collected their phones, and in the process, and hit some of them with gun. Quite a number of people were assaulted, including female doctors. We had to immediately call our members, our Congress, and resume our strike, because we have a standing order. Once there's assault on a member, we have to go on strike. The Nigerian Medical Association didn't just strike, they filed a ₦1 billion lawsuit, calling it a show of shame. For 5 days, the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital was shut down.
This is a hospital.
When the EFCC personnel came in, and when they came in, they didn't come as government official. They covered their face like a kind of Boko Haram and then kidnappers. So they enter here with force, and they pick one of the doctor at the theater. So when they picked the doctor at the theater, people were just like, what is going on? They didn't even do like a trained personnel. The approach was very bad. So the man was at the very act of operating somebody. They now drag him and then take him out. So it was there that they picked other doctors that was on duty as well.
While the EFCC and the hospital argued about who locked whom in, patients who needed surgery died. Patients who needed dialysis suffered. Families lost loved ones. That's the cost of institutional breakdown. By Friday, May 15th, the crisis had reached breaking point. The Akwa Ibom state government stepped in. EFCC representatives, the hospital management, the Nigerian Medical Association, DSS, the Nigerian police, all warring parties converged for an emergency meeting at the government house in Uyo.
Please, I beg of you, please, for the sake of the lives of the people of Akwa Ibom State, those who will not be able to go to private clinic, those who are already there, like he said, pregnant women, labor might start today and will need CS to save life, save the mother, save the child, and no doctor. Please, we beg of you, let the strike be called off here. The governor said I should appeal to you, make a statement, lest the workers return back to work tomorrow.
The Akwa Ibom state government's intervention brought a stunning reversal. The EFCC, an agency that rarely apologizes, backed down.
I've been given the permission to say on behalf of EFCC, we're very, very sorry for the errors.
In a formal statement, the agency admitted it was deeply embarrassed by the incident and tendered an apology to Professor Eyo Ekpe and the management of the teaching hospital. The professor accepted, and the Nigerian Medical Association suspended the strike. This morning, the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital is open. Doctors are back in the wards, patients are being treated, and the crisis is over. But the patients who died waiting for surgery are not coming back. The families who lost loved ones while doctors were on strike are still grieving. The lesson is written in the lives we lost. You can't fight corruption by endangering the sick. You can't save lives while locked in conflict with people fighting corruption. Both sides need to learn, because the next time the EFCC needs to verify a document, the next time a hospital feels threatened, the next time institutions collide, it cannot cost lives.